All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day two. Welcome to day two of the sixth SUBA conference, and I'm pleased to have you here. It's really amazing. It was challenging last week, yes. However, we got over it. We were able to set up other alternatives, and we've been able to get past that challenging moment. All right. So I want to welcome you to the second day of the sixth SUBA conference. I want to really appreciate all of those that have joined from all ends of the earth, as it were. So I want to really appreciate your effort. I want to appreciate everything you've done. And this is going to be recorded, so there's going to be a rerun, a replay. You're going to see it live on Facebook. And you are going to also see it live on YouTube, all right? So I want us to invite our friends. If you are here, if you are seeing me right now, share this as a watch party. Invite your friends. Invite everyone you believe that would benefit from today's session with our very enlightened guest who is already live here with us. Mr. Joshua is the lead consultant at Mainlotz Edge. Mainlotz Edge is a farm management company, agro management company. It's one of the leading companies in Nigeria. They've handled massive projects in the western part of Nigeria, in Oyo, Ogun State, Lagos, and so on. They consult for companies both in Nigeria and abroad to help manage agricultural businesses and models here in Nigeria. And it is an honor to have him in the house today. It is an honor. It's a privilege to have him. And shortly, I'm just going to bring him up just after this introduction. So if you are here already, I'd like you to put a comment. Comment in the comment section. I want to see your comment. I want you to share this, invite your friends, share it as a watch party, invite your friends, share the link, share it on your wall. Share. We want as many people to gain from this session today, from what we are going to share. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to bring on Mr. Joshua Bamidele. So Mr. Joshua, you're welcome to this live stream. I really want to appreciate you. How are you doing today, Mr. Joshua?
I'm great, Mr. Silas. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm great. Well done.
Okay. Maybe you might want to adjust your camera a bit, maybe a little bit central, so that we could see you in a central form. Maybe a little to since you're left now or so. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
How's it been? Okay, so
Awesome.
today,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Joshua and I are going to be having a conversation. Good. We're going to be having a conversation on the topic how to solve poverty, hunger, and unemployment. How to solve poverty, hunger, and unemployment. That's what we're going to be talking today. And the means we're going to use to solve this problem is through agro-investment. Like I said earlier, before bringing him on, Mr. Joshua is an expert in this field. He's, an authority, as it were, in this field. And he's going to be sharing with us exactly what it means to be able to solve these problems through agro-investment. Mr. Joshua.
Yeah. Once again, good evening, everyone. First is I want to actually say a very big thank you to you, Mr. Silas. For bringing me to this platform. It's really a privilege. And I also want to appreciate every organizing team of SUBA Capital, and I want to say a very big thank you for inviting me to share my experience in agriculture and perhaps solve a bit of problems that we have in Nigeria via agriculture. Thank you so very much for inviting me. I really do appreciate. Okay, so we will be talking about the business of agriculture.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Right?
And today
we'll be talking about it.
And today's topic is how to solve poverty, hunger, and unemployment through agro-investment.
Okay, how to solve poverty. Okay, I don't know if you would like to check. Sorry, to break. Some persons are sending me message that they can't connect to the link. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's network from their end or something. The link is already live. I can see the monitor feedback from here. The link is live.
Okay. So sorry, one moment, please.
Okay.
Okay. So we're talking about agro business, and basically how to solve poverty, hunger, and unemployment through agricultural investment.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a very, very important topic. The business of agriculture is something that has been predicted. I'm getting messages from people that they can't connect to us. So
hello, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
All right. So I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. So the industry is one of the industry that has been considered to be a very industrious industry. I mean, across the world, and there is a projection of Africa generating about $1 trillion. You understand, in agriculture by 2030. I mean 2030, and currently agriculture is actually thriving among the industry we have in the world, and specifically everybody is looking forward to Africa to feed the world.
Okay.
A lot of work is basically going on across every corner of Nigeria, and of course, this is also extended to all other African countries to, ensure that we're meeting the mandates that has been placed, or the demands that have been placed on us, even though there are still a whole lot of work to be done as agriculture. As agriculture in Africa, there's still a whole lot of work to be done so that we can meet the demand that the world is actually placing on us. So tonight, talking about the business of agriculture, specifically how we can solve poverty, hunger, unemployment, and through agricultural investment. Okay, so we are going to restrict this to Nigeria alone. Some of the data, some of the informations that will be shared tonight, that I will be sharing tonight, is specifically for our dear country, like for Nigeria and all, because I believe that from here we can do a lot to affect the entire continent, and of course extend our solutions to European countries and all of that. So let's dive into this tonight.
Okay.
How we can solve poverty, hunger, and unemployment through agriculture. This thing. So this is it. To arrive at the solution to poverty and unemployment, we have to know to what extent we are affected. We have to know to what extent we are affected by these problems, or how huge these problems are. We have to know the extent to which this to extent to which we are affected by poverty. We really have to, come to establish that. So we are faced with three major problems, which have been mentioned earlier. Poverty.
Okay. Yeah. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Okay, so let's give him a minute. I think he went off a bit. Maybe the network is shaking where he is. So
okay.
Okay.
I think the network went bad or something.
No, sorry, so sorry. Yeah, I think that's what happened. So yeah, you said we are faced with three problems: poverty, hunger, and unemployment. These are linked to unemployment. Okay.
Okay, so poverty and hunger is, attached, or we can trace it to just one problem, which is unemployment. So it means if we must solve the problem of poverty and hunger, as far as we are concerned as a nation, we have to look closely into how we can actually solve the unemployment in our nation. So we are basically faced with unemployment. So we can trace, like I said earlier, we can trace the hunger and the poverty challenge to unemployment. So let's look at poverty rate, right?
All right.
Poverty rate is on the increase. Poverty rate is on the increase because large number of people are unemployed, and many are losing their jobs. Therefore, no source of income to actually feed. To feed people, and hence hunger rate is on the increase. Now, let's look at the rate of poverty just before COVID-19, right? Just before COVID-19 outbreak, just before the pandemic and all of that. National Bureau of Statistics reported that 40.1% of Nigerians are considered to be poor.
Okay.
40.1% of Nigeria are considered to be poor. Now, why is that? It has been predicted, or it has been actually said that it has been said that 41% of Nigeria are actually living on less than $1.9 per day.
Wow.
Less than $1.9 per day, which is estimated to be 760 naira 760 naira per day.
That's amazing.
It means more than almost, is really amazing. That means almost half of the nation is living on 760 naira or less in a day, or less in a day. Can you please share your link?
Hello? Are you there? Wow, this network is really challenging this evening. Hello? Okay, so let's give him a minute. I think the network on his end is really challenging. Let's give him a minute. So so far we've been able to ascertain that the biggest problem is unemployment that leads to poverty and then hunger. We've also been able to ascertain that for us to be able to solve this problem, we need to know the extent to which this problem has affected us. All right. So while we wait, and also he has shared with us that Nigerian Bureau of Statistics currently says that we have 40.1% of Nigerians, which is estimated to be about 80 million Nigerians, considered to be poor, living below 760 naira, per day. That is really poor. So while we just wait for him to connect back, let me reach out to him and find out what's going on his side. Let me reach out to him. Okay, I think he's back now. So, yeah. I think.
All right. So, not okay. Sorry, I'm back. I think it's just the network.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
So like I said, National Bureau of Statistics reported that 40.1% of Nigeria are considered, poor because, they live on less than $1.9 a day, which of course is equivalent or estimated to be 760 naira per day. 760 naira per day means more than almost half of the populace are actually living on less than $2 a day. So note that 40.1% is estimated at about 80 million of the total population.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
About 80 million of the total population, and that is the statistic. That statistic was in existence before COVID outbreak. We should take into consideration that thousands of investments and jobs, were lost and affected during the pandemic just because of COVID-19 outbreak. A lot of jobs were lost, a lot of investments were lost, while some other persons had to settle for a pay cut. So we should consider all of these things as part of the effect, and as part of what we effect into an increase in poverty rates in Nigeria and all of that. So with this in view, we can assume that the rate of poverty has increased, even though we cannot lay our hands on any data to prove that at the moment. So we need to ask ourselves a question. Like I feel in the middle of all of these, in the middle of abundance that we share as a nation, in the middle of abundance, we need to ask ourselves a question on how did we get here? How did we get here as a nation? You understand? How did we get here? How did we get to the point where we cannot feed ourselves as a nation? We need to ask ourselves, how did we get to the point where almost half of the population is living in abject poverty and unemployment in spite of the abundance we possess as a nation? We need to ask ourselves, this critical this critical question. Yeah, we need to ask ourselves. I mean, we could see that during COVID-19. And I think one of the reasons, basically because I mean there was no front. The government could not keep up. I mean, giving funds to actually feed, giving funds to people to actually feed. I mean themselves. So the government had to ease, meaning we don't have reserve to actually. If we have to go on a lockdown again now, I'm not sure as a nation we can feed ourselves. You understand? For 2 weeks or 1 month. I mean, on a stretch, I'm not sure we have such
capacity.
So as a nation, we really, I'm not sure we have that capacity to actually feed ourselves. So how did we get here? So the answer is actually clear. The answer is clear. What actually happened was that we left what is our primary possession, which is agriculture. We left our primary possession, which is agriculture, and all that is attached, you understand, to agriculture, to pursue our secondary possession, secondary, possession, which is crude oil. Wow. We left nobody in the world can directly compete with us on, to pursue something that is
highly competitive.
It produced, you understand, highly competitive in every part, in every other continent, or every other part of the world. We left our basic possession, our primary possession, to pursue that. We are simply distracted by the discovery and the boom of crude
oil. Wow. and recently the crude oil has even plummeted, because just recently the crude oil went into almost not even almost, it went into a negative. And it was really terrible, especially for investors that invested in crude oil and allied product and things like that. So okay, hello, can you hear me? Oh wow, his network is really threatening, and okay, he's back. So
okay.
So we left agriculture for crude oil that is competitive across the world, crude oil that every other person can produce. Wow.
Exactly. We were just distracted and all of that. So the crude oil boom in the 60s and the 70s displays our agriculture system. The boom in the crude oil was supposed to strengthen our agriculture system. That was it. You understand? It's just like we were being blessed by God with extra support, but we will support to strengthen our agriculture system. But what happened is that we left our agriculture system to crumble and all of that. And instead of the oil boom to actually strengthen our agriculture system, it actually crumbled it. We were so distracted by the boom that we neglected agriculture sector for a long time. So do you know that a whole lot of companies attached to agriculture sector died and folded up because of our negligence of the sector? Just to focus on crude oil, while some potential companies that would have started or been established could not start because the structure system to help them start is not available, and the ones that are available are very weak. The thriving organization in the agriculture sector today are being funded by some individuals, private bodies, or foreign governments. So let's imagine how many jobs would have been created if we had use the funds generated from the crude oil to build a fully integrated extensive system or a value-added system for all or some of our farm produce across the nation, we would have created thousands of jobs and make a lot of revenue if a value-added system had been created for commodities like the groundnut pyramids that we had, in the northern part of Nigeria, the cocoa in the south, the wool textile production. We would have created value-added system around tomatoes. You understand? Onions, potato, rice, maize, cassava, and many more agricultural produce. This would have in turn, increased our GDP and create thousands of jobs. This would have, be a turnaround, for us as a nation.
Yeah. Imagine all of this. You know, would have just
producing.
Yeah.
We would have currently the situation that is happening in Nigeria is that we are producing agricultural abundance in Nigeria to create jobs and income for other countries. That is what we are currently doing in Nigeria. We are producing agricultural abundance in Nigeria to create jobs and income for other countries. We would have rather export and sell we would rather export and sell our raw farm produce to other countries instead. You understand now? Rather than process this raw farm produce ourselves for additional market value.
Wow.
So what we do is we harvest and we export. They put and export. So they process to a finished product and resell to us. So it means that we are producing here, we are exporting it, and they are creating additional value to all of these things. And this is going to be thoroughly explained as we have this conversation. So
wow, this is very expository.
We are definitely acting like what was described in the scripture about people who will not process the raw material they have. A lot of food is being produced in Nigeria, but not a lot of food is being processed here in Nigeria for additional value or for exportation.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah. So let's look at the statistics let's look at this exports and exportation and importation. As far as Nigeria is concerned again. The National Bureau of Statistics also reported that Nigeria agricultural exports attract 401.6 billion naira by the end of September 2019.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
While importation, bringing food into Nigeria cost us 949.8 billion worth of agricultural goods that we bought.
Oh, so after producing about 400 billion plus, we sold the raw materials to them, and they now bought it at 949 billion. We're already at a loss. If you look at it.
So that is exactly what is happening. So that means that agriculture, sector recorded a negative trade balance of 548.17 billion. You understand now? A negative trade balance. That means
serious.
That means that we spend more than we earn as a nation. That is the reason. That is the reason poverty rate is. That is one of the reasons poverty rate is actually increasing.
I was just going to ask that. Like, how does this concern the average man on the streets? And you just mentioned it. This is why we are in poverty. just mentioned it. Hello, are you there? Hello. Yeah. Okay. So if you are watching this live, I'd like you to leave a comment. Let us see if you have
as a nation.
Okay.
So which is what constitutes to our poverty and unemployment rate. Basically. So this should make it clear that Nigeria agriculture sector still needs huge investment and effective policy to achieve its potential. Therefore, the way forward for us as a nation is to invest massively in value-added system for all the agricultural produce before exporting.
That's a smart way. That's a smart way out of it.
Yeah.
That's a smart way out
of
it.
You can imagine there is a company here in Nigeria that generates 3 billion naira profit in 2019 from crude palm oil production and processing.
Oh wow, okay.
And in spite of the profit generated, Presco Limited was not able to meet the local and international market demand. More organizations like Presco can be created to also produce and process crude palm oil to finished products in order to gain additional revenue for our dear nation. The same value addition system built around crude palm oil by Presco Limited can be replicated for agricultural produce like cocoa, rubber, groundnut, tobacco, yam, wool, cassava, rice, etc., and so on and so forth. This will take us to reorganize. This will mean that we'll have to reorganize ourselves as individual organization and as a nation so that we can place our agriculture sector at the top of our agenda for investment. Our responsibility as an individual organization is to get into what I called organized investment. This is important for us. This is important for us to, bring the agriculture sector into its full potential, because the government them to do in order to bring agriculture into its full potential. The organized investments require that persons or organizations who have capital, skills, and property come together to build a value-added system around some of our farm produce in order to generate additional income and create multiple jobs, right? So practical example of organized investment is a capitalist who went to invest funds with an agriculturist who is skilled in production of agricultural produce, processing, and understand market for every agricultural produce. Then while both of them, that's the agriculturist and the capitalist, would need to look for persons or organizations who hold large landed property to expand their production, and persons or organizations who have machines or equipment to do value added for agricultural produce. So I feel everyone should think of how they can use their skills, they can use their funds, and use the available property they have to drive our agriculture sector. In order for us to ensure we drive agriculture in our nation to its full potential. there are a lot this can do in order to actually generate jobs, make, I mean, additional income for individuals, and of course, better, I mean, the lives of people in our nation. So I feel this is very, very much important.
All right. So
All right,
basically, okay, that was quite expository, especially with the statistics. So this basically means that it is in our hands, all right, to solve this problem, because if we keep waiting for the government or some sector to solve the problem of poverty, the problem of hunger, the problem of unemployment, we might wait for a longer time. All right. So basically, it is in our hands. And one of the ways you've mentioned, like you said, I'm coming. Let me pull that point up again. One of the ways you mentioned, you said it's our responsibility as individuals and organizations. That means the private sector, as it were, to invest in agriculture to create this value chain that will employ people. If I got you correctly.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. And this is something, and you made a very good example of, a capitalist and an agriculturist, coming together. I think from this kind of example, I would say my company, SUBA Capital, will be the capitalist in this kind of scenario, where we do agricultural fund management. We mop up crowd funds to be able to invest in large scale or commercial agriculture and make sure that people benefit, the general contributing or investing public benefit from this, and increasing their earning power. All right, which means that it will increase their earning power, it will increase their cash flow, and improve their level of poverty, as it were. If I'm correct, right?
Yeah, you're very correct.
So this is really amazing, and we've had a very wonderful session here today. I don't know, for those that have been, I know the network was a little bit challenging from your end. For those that have joined us on and off, there's also going to be a replay of this. So if you have questions at this point, I'd like you to leave it in the comment section. I'm going to raise one or two questions based on the points that Mr. Joshua here has raised, and we're going to look at those questions in relation to what you have shared with us today. First and foremost is, one of the things that struck me was this particular point of about 80 million Nigerians being poor or being considered poor. So in your own opinion, because growing up, a lot of people used to think that agriculture is for those in the rural dwellers. All right. Growing up, we believe that agriculture is for retirees, people that are no longer working, and 80 million, from what I know, 70 million of the Nigerian population are youth aged between 18 and 45. So if you are telling me that 80 million people are poor, it means that a lot of these people are youth. So what are we going to do to be able to solve this problem from the angle of the teeming youth population? That's my question.
Come again with the last part of the question.
What are we going to do to solve this particular problem? That mindset of the agriculture sector is for the old and the retired. What are we going to do to solve that problem, that mindset problem, in this large population of youth? Because 80%, like you said, 80 million people, 70 million of these people are youth. From Nigerian statistics, 70 million of these people are youth. So what are we going to do to solve this problem from that particular angle?
Okay.
Of the youth changing their mindsets to say, okay, this is no longer a case of retired folks. It is our problem now.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sir Silas, for that question. I think one of the so to speak, one of the costs that the oil boom actually brought was to, like I said earlier, was to displace the agriculture sector. So one of the mistakes to people who work in the crude oil or in the people who work in the crude oil value chain, we give so much attention to them such that we look away from what was our basic possession or basic property, so to speak, and all of that. So because of this, I mean, agriculture became so tedious for people who were interested back then. I mean, I saw a whole lot of people that actually people still will talk to you today that agriculture is not something you can go into. And when you try to investigate further, they will tell you that they've been there before. Agriculture was difficult for them to run. And I understand what they are trying to talk about. There are no facilities, there are no support whatsoever to actually support them, to support an average farmer or someone who is on the field trying to ensure that he produce something, or someone who is involved in the agricultural sector. And thank God that the government is beginning to actually realize now that agriculture is something that can help generate
Hello. Can you hear me? Wow. Okay. He was trying to respond to the question of how to solve the mindset of
what we.
Okay.
All right. So basically, I mean, the agricultural business was actually not made lucrative because all forms of support was actually removed. So how can we reorganize ourselves against all of this? How can we make the business of agriculture lucrative again? Is that everybody would have to get themselves engaged in this and all of that. There are lots of people that I know today that are into agricultural business, and if you see them, if they tell you they're into agricultural business, you can never actually think they are telling the truth, because they don't look like a typical African agriculturist and all of that. Because people are beginning to reinvent agriculture. People are beginning to reinvent agriculture. So do you know, the question is, how can the youth, or how can anybody venture into agriculture?
Yeah, how do we make them interested?
This is what I say to so this is what I say to people, that there are thousands of ways you can generate money from agriculture using the skill you have now, or probably you just learn a bit of some skills to actually generate money from agriculture. So like I said, everybody will have to start thinking of how to reinvent, the way people work in Shell, the way people work in Chevron and all of the oil companies. Why is it that all of these organizations was attractive, and back then everybody wants to work in an oil company? Is because there were lots of investment that actually went into these industries, or into these sectors. A lot of money were pumped into technology, machines, to make the work easy for people and all of that. So right now is that we have to, like I said earlier, organized investment. You have to just look for how the skill you possess currently, how we can actually fit into agriculture. Say for instance, the Presco Nigeria Limited is into crude palm oil processing, both production and processing. And if you work with if you work with Presco today, if you are on the field, that's on the production end, on the field and all of that, you probably have all the equipment to actually do harvest, to plant, you understand, without you stressing yourself. And you should also know that, I mean, Presco is doing some form of marketing. It means if you're a marketer, you can venture into agriculture. So basically what you do is to create market awareness. You understand what I'm saying? To create market awareness for some agriculture product. If you're a market research, you can basically go into market and see people's reaction or people acceptance to a particular product that is coming or that is about to be produced. So it means you can venture into agriculture regardless of the skill you have right now. Because of the pandemic and travel, the restriction on travel and all of that, I started something in my house, you know, from my creativity. I started doing nurseries. You understand? It's just like I started producing nursery for some crops in my house. Do you understand what I'm saying now? So what I need to do now is to do it on a large scale and look for farms, you understand, who need this nursery. So they don't need to go through the stress. Nurseries, they don't need to. Let me show you.
Oh wow.
This is one of it. I mean,
what crop is
just
that?
Creativity. This is honeydew melon. This yellow stuff we eat, like this honeydew melon. This is nursery. You understand? This can be replanted, right? This can be replanted, and I have some. I have some other too. You understand now, and all of that. I mean, the container is the disposable of the what's it called? The airport that I'm using. You understand? That is it. I mean, I just decided to start practicing. Practicing and see how we can do. I mean, for me to produce millions of nurseries for a large farm. You understand? It means I don't need much space. I don't need much money. I only need the soil. I mean, caged in a small container, then plant thousands of these in, and when it's ready to be planted, I can look for a what's it called now? I can look for a farm or a farmer to come and buy all of these nursery, and without me leaving my house, I'm making money in the agriculture space. Yeah, so I believe people of my age, because I'm still a very young person too. I mean, the youth of Nigeria will have to just be creative. Look for how your skill, you understand now, look for how your skill can actually match into the agriculture space. The other day I was talking to a content developer, a copyright person. I told him, I said, he was asking me how we can venture into agriculture. I told him, what skill do you have? He said he can write. I said, wow, that's fantastic. Look for some agriculture produce and start writing expository content about them and all of that. And you can look for some, existing farm and help them use your content, your writing content, to promote their product. I think that's where they are going to actually pay you if you are doing a very good job and all that. Yeah. So apart from the agriculture is getting to a space, and right now is that we also need a whole lot of technology. We also need a whole lot of technology to actually aid agriculture produce, particularly in Africa. Let me say in Nigeria, we need a whole lot of technology, artificial intelligence, robotics, and all of that. If you can invest in all of these things, it's going to be a whole lot of benefits for whosoever decide to actually do that. So I believe as younger folks and generation, we can actually, regardless of our skill, we can venture into agriculture and make fortune from it if we do it well and with passion.
Okay, so final question. What you've mentioned so far, it's it's obvious that they are capital intensive, which is where folks like us come in to broker between the capital intensive nature of the business and all of that. So for somebody, say an average person or a low income earner earning, say maybe 20,000, 5,000, 3,000 naira, you know, they want to probably put it aside. In your own opinion, do you think it is smart to start investing in agriculture at small scale, or should I wait to have all the money before I start investing in agriculture? Because this is the argument we keep having when it comes to the business of it, the business itself, because when it comes to the business of agriculture, that is where money starts exchanging hands, right? So when it comes to that, should I wait till I have all the money, or should I start with the little I have?
Okay, good question, Silas. So I think one of the reasons we are not making progress in the agriculture sector in Nigeria is basically because one man, I mean, we are acting as individual, we're not acting as collective. That is the reason. I mean, agriculture is having, I mean, a huge, I mean, retrogression in Nigeria. Everybody wants to act for himself, or every organization wants to act for itself. So we have a whole lot of subsistence farmer in Nigeria, meaning small scale farmer.
Yeah.
Farmers who have one plot, 1 hectare, 2 hectare, maximum you will see is probably, let's say, 50 hectares, which some body or some organization will still tell you this is small for them to actually invest in. So one of the things I believe we can actually do is to start coming together, as, I mean, and form, I mean, coming together to form an entity and all of that. We can form an entity around a particular crop and make it big. For instance, we don't have to, like you said, we don't have to wait to have all the money, so to speak, before you can actually invest in agriculture. The truth of the matter is there are a whole lot of agriculturists out there who have the skill. They know how to run all the field work. And they can handle large capacity when it comes to, I mean, in production or farming. They can handle large, I mean, expanse of land, let's say 1,000 hectares, 2,000 hectares and upward. They can handle something like that. But these persons are actually limited by funds. They don't have investment, capital investment to run all of these things. So I believe that we can, I mean, bring ourselves together, like people who have funds can actually invest in all of these agriculturists or the farmers who are already into production of all of these things and all of that. And we can bring small scale farmers together to ensure that, I mean, they both probably they produce the same crop, but they both, I mean, each of them would handle their individual space. And of course, coming together will make the whole project something that is worthwhile. And of course, we can reduce a whole lot of costs while we make additional income. And that. So I believe that one of the things that is crumbling agriculture in Nigeria is that we are acting collective. I mean, we are acting as an individual.
As a collective.
Yeah, collectively. Yeah. So I believe that all of it is still capital intensive, and persons who have capitals can invest can invest in agriculture, so that we can have a large project, and of course income or return for these investors too is going to be very big. And in addition to that, we can bring together, I mean, capitalists, people who have skills, like the farmers, and like I said earlier, people who have property. You understand?
Yeah.
All of these persons or all of these organizations can, I mean, come together in collaboration. Give me your land. I have the skill to farm, and I have and I have, let's say we have these persons who have some funds to invest. You understand? So we all come together, you invest your funds. This person understand how to run the whole process, and this person is donating machineries or equipment and maybe their piece of land and all of that. So by the time we generate income, what happens is that everybody will share profit. Everybody would be happy at the end of the day, and more jobs will definitely be created in between. So I believe it's very, very important that we start acting, regardless of your skill or expertise in agriculture, that we start acting collectively. We start coming together. I mean, in order to ensure that the agriculture sector come to its full potential. That's it.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Joshua. So this is the end of today's broadcast. This is the end of today's session. I want to appreciate everyone that has joined. I know the network was a bit challenging, went on and off. So for those of you currently watching, whether you're watching live, you're watching the replay, if you want to contact Mr. Joshua, his contact is scrolling right now at the bottom of the screen. You can contact him. He's an amazing farm project manager, agro management, expert, and he's going to help you through all of these things that he has mentioned to make sure that your agribusiness is profitable. Thank you, Mr. Joshua, for coming on the conference. Thank you for this session. The world is definitely going to see this because we're going to repurpose it for YouTube, and then we're going to run promotions on it. Thank you so much, and thanks for everyone that's come on to watch. So till next week, where we have the last session, I'm going to see you guys again. So thank you, Mr. Joshua.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right, sir. Thank you. Good night. Okay, guys. So basically, that is it for today. You heard it from the man himself, the expert in the agro management space that does everything that has to do with the field and life production of agriculture. He shared some very startling statistics about 80 million people living under the poverty line and all of that. And this can be solved through agriculture. So what I would suggest that you do now is you can see that we have such opportunities, like he mentioned, to partner with us, to partner with people, other people, because agriculture is obviously capital intensive. So what you just do, you can see our numbers and our links scrolling down at the bottom of the screen. If you'd like to partner with us as well, to be able to invest in agriculture at what we are doing at SUBA Capital, because we're basically an agro-investment company. So we're investing heavily in agriculture, creating jobs and solving the problem of poverty and hunger across the country in Nigeria. Hopefully, we're going to expand it across Africa in the near future. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for joining the conference. My name is Silas OZOYA. I'm going to see you again next week. Have a lovely one. Take care.